Hi guys, this is Elizabeth Lariva. A lot of my clients keep asking me about what is escrow, what is title. So today I decided to interview Carl. He is one of the best and he is with Fidelity National Title. So stick around if you want to learn more. So Carl, share with us, what is title and escrow? My clients keep asking me about that.
Well, thank you for having me here. So very good question. Title insurance and escrow is actually two separate processes, and we'll go into both of those as we speak about these things.
Perfect.
But title insurance is a policy, a one-time payment, and escrow is the process of providing that insurance policy to your buyer and your seller. So that's basically what those two are.
Got it. So why don't you share with us, like, what is really escrow and maybe what is title? Let's break it down in two.
Sure.
Yeah. So what is escrow?
What is escrow? So escrow, as I mentioned, is the process of providing title insurance, but it's more than just that. They act as a holder. So anytime there's a real estate transaction between a buyer and a seller, they enter into a purchase agreement or a purchase contract, right? Or a sales contract. That gets then delivered to a title and escrow company or escrow, and escrow's job is then to perform on that behalf of those terms. So it's their job to execute those terms with the seller's agent, the buyer's agent, the lender, and then all the parties involved.
Yeah, because you guys are really the neutral party, right, between the buyer and the seller.
Yeah, we are a third party or a neutral party to the transaction, so we act non-biasedly in our ways of functioning, and that's very important.
Got it. So what are the fees? Because I know that some places, like in the mainland, they use an attorney instead of an escrow, right? So, you know, what would be the fees of using
the fees for title policies are pretty basic. We have a table of fees. It's based on sales price. Our base price is $585, and depending on your price point, it can go up to maybe about $4,500 for your policy, depending on sales price.
So it's actually cheaper, right, than using an attorney?
Oh, of course, it's way cheap. We actually recognize that fact very well.
Perfect.
It's one of the most accepted policies in this industry, so it's a very good product to insure yourself with a title insurance policy.
And Fidelity has a great reputation, right, in the island.
Absolutely.
So
we are the largest one in the nation by far, and we insure 1 out of every 3 transactions, so we know what we got going on here.
Awesome. Perfect. So why don't we talk a little bit more about title and why is it important?
Yeah, so title insurance is basically the root of what we're talking about here. Title insurance is insurance that you are, as the buyer, purchasing a property that is in fact yours to purchase, and that the seller is that it's theirs to sell. In other words, before we can transfer the property from one homeowner to the next, we have to assure the buyer that all the judgments and the liens and the easements and the encroachments that may exist on the property are free and clear, so that the buyer is, you know, happily enjoying their new property.
Correct.
So there's a lot that goes into that, and what they do is they do a research on the property to find out if there is any judgments, tax defaults, or liens, and then we put that on what we call a preliminary title report provided to the agent, and that explains more in detail of what's happening on the property.
Is it true that it goes all the way back to like the Great Mahele today? That's crazy.
It does. We have to trace history from one owner to the other owner to the next owner, all the way down the line to, like you said, the Great Mahele in many cases.
And I guess it's really important for a buyer because you have to protect that big asset that you're purchasing.
Absolutely.
That's correct, right?
Many times in real estate, it's the largest asset you're purchasing in your life. So we want to make sure that the property you're purchasing is in fact clear of any types of liens or judgments that may, you know, hold you back in the transaction. So we take care of that situation through the escrow process.
That's perfect. Right. Awesome. Now, what would be the fees for that?
So title policies, much like escrow fees, are based on the purchasing price. Exactly. So it would depend, and it's almost identical to the escrow fees. It's almost the same pricing as far as the base to the max. We offer many discounts. We have 25% off for first-time home buyers, for investors, for 30% for military. And then we also have discounts for senior citizens and government employees. So if you are of any of that, make sure to let Elizabeth know and we can easily apply that discount.
Now, share with me, I know that in the purchase contract we have what is called the standard policy and the premium policy when it comes to title.
Right.
And I do know that 60% of this is paid by the seller, 40% of the cost is paid by the buyer. But why don't you share like what is the difference between the two, and what would you recommend to go with the premium one, you know, and not just a standard one?
Right. So there's a lot of different exceptions or coverages in the policies. Depending on which policy you choose. There's a standard, then there's the complete homeowner's policy. The standard is basic. It covers your liens, your judgments, your tax defaults, those kinds of researching items. The very basics is in our title industry. But I would recommend, especially for properties that may have been foreclosed or properties that may be in a little bit more issues than a normal transaction, to invest in the complete homeowner's policy because it covers an additional 30 items.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot more items, and it's based on a 10% rate more than the standard.
Oh, so it's not really much of a difference.
Absolutely not.
Really. Wow.
It's actually highly recommended, and it's the more common policy that we give up because of the fact that it offers so much more. We want to be given the opportunity for the basics, but we also want to encourage people to insure themselves because, like as you said, when you're purchasing something of extreme value, you want to protect yourself.
And it's only a one-time fee anyway.
It's a one-time fee.
Yeah, and 60% is paid by the seller. So hey, might as well get the premium one.
Might as well do what you gotta do. I agree. Yeah, do what you gotta do. Right.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. I think it's really helpful to you know, get all this information.
Absolutely. Title insurance and escrow is something not a lot of people know until they get into a real estate transaction. So I'm happy to share that with you.
Awesome. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave any comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let us know what kind of topics you would like to see.